be sparking and rushing, mad like inside the dark. Call me Bill Snatcher, just the brother for the rapture. I hang live, holding on strong, hard to capture. Extravagant, resurrect the track and it's militant. And I react like a convict and start killing. It's manifested. The gods work like appliances, dealing in my psyche.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys a major development for the Naruto franchise, in particular when it comes to the Boruto portion of the Naruto franchise. So obviously, if you're not caught up with the anime, you really probably need to watch the last few Boruto episodes. That way you know exactly what happened. However, if you haven't been living under a rock, you already know that BoruShiki grabbed the kunai and played hide the kunai with Sasuke. Rinnegan went poke, just like how Kurama went smoke. Well, essentially, after all of this was done, you had some people saying, well, all hope isn't lost when it comes to Sasuke. And I played devil's advocate. I've made the videos saying like, yo, I think that this is a way that you can fix Sasuke. This is a way you can fix Naruto. That's what we do here on the channel. We look at the pros and cons and ways things that can be done. However, the last Boruto anime episode, they just said, okay, we calling it RInneGONE. We need to call it RInneGONE because we can't spell it RInneGAN, but instead we gotta call it RInneGON. Because that damn I is no longer in existence at this point. And the reason why people held on to a little bit of hope, and the reason why that came as a bit of a shock, and I said in my episode review, like, yo, this was a really big development and this will get a video later on in the week. Well, the reason why we're doing this now is when you look at the Naruto lore, just because an eye had been destroyed or just because an eye had been removed did not remove the ability to use that power. The precedent that we have for this is the fact that Madara was able to use his Susanoo despite not having any Sharingan inside of his eyes, because it was a situation where he had awoken the Mangekyo Sharingan. In the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, chakra was inside of his body. That's why he was able to manifest a imperfect Susanoo. He just couldn't use the Susanoo to its full extent like he could when both eyes were in his eye socket. The same thing with Shisui in the Ninja Escapade OVA, where Shisui was able to use the Susanoo even though he only had one eye, and the same thing with Itachi, where Itachi's eyes had lost their light, but Itachi was able to use his Susanoo and people were able to use their ocular powers before this. Well, the reason I find this interesting is the fact that Sasuke's Rinnegan did get a kunai shoved right through it, and the eye was effectively destroyed, but just because the eye was destroyed did not mean that the chakra was removed from his body as well, unless that's one souped up kunai that BoruShiki used. It didn't necessarily make sense to that. However, what I like about this is that the anime had Sakura test out Sasuke's body, test out Naruto's body, and essentially Sakura confirms that there is no Rinnegan chakra left. Now, I've seen people say, is this a potential retcon because what happened with Itachi and Shisui and the others? And I have mixed feelings about that because I understand it, and it fits what Masashi Kishimoto likes to do with the characters of Naruto and Sasuke. When one gets a power up, the other one gets a power up. And in this case, when one gets nerfed, the other one got nerfed as well. And when you look at it, both of them had powers taken away from them that they weren't born with. Naruto was not born with the Nine Tails chakra inside of him. It got sealed into him. What Naruto has right now is just the God-given power that he was born with, which is his super long lifespan and his enormous chakra reserves that he has of himself. Sasuke is now just left with the powers of the Uchiha clan's Kekkei Genkai, the Sharingan. He no longer has the Rinnegan. Those are powers that, in the case of Naruto, it was sealed into him by Minato, and then in the case of Sasuke, the Rinnegan was directly given to him by Hagoromo. So Kishimoto taking away the powers that were given to both of them, I'm completely fine with it. And I will say this, there are people getting upset, they're calling it a retcon, but the thing I'll say is that while Kishimoto did say in Naruto Databook 3 that once something's been a part of your body for a really long time, it never truly goes away because of the way that chakra works. That was Kishimoto's answer in regards to how Gaara was able to continuously manipulate sand even after losing the power of the One Tails. The thing I'll say is that if you're a fan of the Naruto franchise, retcons are not anything new. Retcons have been going on as far back as part 1 of Naruto, where small changes got made, especially when you read the manga. So I'm not mad at that. Again, I'm used to the retcons. A great example of retcons being made in the past is the timeline changing as to when Orochimaru left the Hidden Leaf Village. In part 1 of Naruto, it was stated that Orochimaru left right after Minato was named the Hokage, but later on in the manga, we find out that Orochimaru continued to stay in Konoha years after Minato became Hokage. So it's one of those things to where, as long as the retcon works narratively, which in this case it does work in my opinion, it fits what Kishimoto likes to write at, I'm not mad at the fact that they lost the Rinnegan and that they lost the power of the Nine Tails. I'm completely okay with it. Now, the thing I'll definitely say is that we're in a situation where people have to understand, while the Rinnegan was a massive buff in power, just one Rinnegan by itself was enough that Obito's like, my God, this is so much chakra, it's driving me crazy. And we saw the huge buff in power that Sasuke got once he got the Rinnegan. Sasuke is still plenty powerful on his own, even without the powers of the Rinnegan, even without that chakra boost that the Rinnegan gives him. I've done a whole video explaining how much weaker Sasuke is without the Rinnegan. There are no numbers or calculations in that, just going over pure hard facts and lore to kind of give you an idea of where to start that conversation. But I want to transition over to something. So I think people are overreacting, and the reason why I think people are overreacting is that Naruto and Sasuke being brought down to this point right here, the reason why this is something that works narratively is Naruto and Sasuke are now on a sliding scale to where they can be as powerful as the plot dictates them to where they need to be. However, they're never going to be as strong as they were when they were at their peaks, when Naruto had all the Biju chakra and when Sasuke had the Rinnegan. In all honesty, Sasuke's power level is probably going to be a slightly stronger version of what you saw during the time travel arc, where Sasuke was not able to use his Rinnegan. He had to rely on his Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. The only difference is that Sasuke in that time didn't have full access to his chakra, but he was still strong enough to where the moment it looked like Sasuke was regaining his ocular powers to full capacity, Urashiki would just rip out his chakra and depower him to a certain extent. So you're able to scale them up and down depending on what the situation is. As a writer, it's giving Kishimoto a lot more freedom. And then on the other side of it too is Naruto and Sasuke are in the same situation that somebody like Kakashi was in and somebody like Guy was in, to where the new generation, they're eventually going to surpass them. But what I strongly believe you are going to see is that as Team 7 continues to get more powerful and as they continue to grow, you're going to see Naruto and Sasuke gradually add to their repertoire, but they're never going to be as strong as they were when they were at their peaks. That gradual power cliffing of the supporting cast, that's something that goes on in Shonen. That's something that typically goes on with the Naruto franchise. I don't think we're in a situation like All Might from My Hero Academia, to where once All Might got screwed, that was it. All Might was basically a senior citizen, at least as far as I know at My Hero. I'm not quite caught up, so I'm not even at the current season in terms of the manga. I just finished the overhaul arc in the manga, so I'm a little behind on My Hero Academia, but as of where I'm at right now, that's the situation with All Might, where it's like All Might isn't nowhere near as powerful as he used to be, and you're seeing somebody like Deku slowly start to live up to his promise and his potential to take over that mantle. I think we're in a similar situation right here with Naruto and Sasuke. I think that you have the possibility this could be a similar situation with Naruto and Sasuke, but based on how Kishimoto's wrote in the past, I think that just as you saw Kakashi after the time skip, it's like, oh wow, Team 7 was able to pressure him, but look, Kakashi had the Mangekyo Sharingan. I do think that you're going to see Kishimoto live in that gray area with Naruto, because as Amato said, it's impossible to calculate how strong Naruto is without the Nine Tails, and that's before you start factoring in things like Sage Mode. If you think that Naruto can't use Sage Mode now that he's lost Kurama, you're absolutely smoking crack at this point. Again, that's a topic I'll talk about in another video as well. So I just want to kind of weigh in on this because I thought this was a very fascinating development. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.